Hello everyone, it's the Pathfinder. Today we're going to go through a little bit of the journey. I want to bring you through slightly more than 1 year journey of Pokemon investing or collecting, whatever you want to call it. I also want to let you know that I did not started it very well, but I think I was probably consider myself lucky because I got in before the market went crazy. So I think at that time the market is a little bit more forgiving. So even though I wasn't really getting many of the items at a very good price, but it's not too bad because I think generally the price is still low enough. But if given whatever I already know or learned in the last 1 year, I think I would have gotten so much better. So I thought it would be interesting to go through quickly with you. I try not to stay too long because there are literally hundreds of transactions since last year. And I'm going to just quickly go through, at the start, this is probably actually not the real start of my collection journey. I think I started probably before, about a month before this. And the first thing that actually got me into Pokemon again, it's actually the 151 UPC because I got it for my kid's birthday. And I didn't even know what is the price. I got it from Toys R Us in Singapore. They carry them, and I found out later that they're actually selling about 10% higher than MSRP, which I could have gotten from Pokemon Center in the Shopee site. And if I used some kind of cashback voucher back then, it can even be below MSRP. So yeah, my first purchase I already bought above MSRP, and I ripped them open with my kids. That's the birthday present, so it was very interesting. And yeah, when we pulled some of the hits, some of them looks very nice. The 3 promos, the Muse promos, also got me interested to find out how much does this really worth, because it looks very nice, very shiny, even has a metal card in it. And then I started, looking into some of this stuff on YouTube. I think the first few videos I saw was PokeRef, and then back then last year he was still using many of the the signals that shows the chimes and how much is this card's worth or things like that. I think I also saw some of the base set opening. It was quite interesting, and I think that's what really kicked this journey started. And then I was looking at some other investor channels. Like I told you before, I was into Nostalgianomics and Pokeos Michael. Shout out to them again. They really got me into the more mature content, I would say. Really get me thinking whether I really want to try doing this. The first thing on the list that I bought, these are actually what I got from Amazon in Singapore, but these are shipped from Amazon US. So at that time I was an Amazon member, and this is amazing actually, because I think I got this in their what do they call it, Amazon Day or something like that. It's always in July. I think it's coming up in a few more days. Maybe you can keep a lookout, but right now I doubt you can find such deals anymore. But yeah, Paldean Fate booster bundle was selling for $20 US. I believe it was 28 Singapore dollar. I only got 3. Yes, one of my regret, I should have gotten more, but I wasn't sure, right? At that time I was just starting, even though I have some cash in my bank. I was just starting out, and because this was going to be, as I was told, at least a 3 to 5 years kind of journey for it to see any kind of growth. So I also I didn't feel the urgent need to go in very heavy. So yeah, I only started with 3 booster bundle. I bought some shiny treasure. Where is this from? I don't even know where is this from. Yes, I think I did buy this from Shopee. Yes, at that time I bought it from Shopee, and it was at a good price with some promo. It's a shopping platform in Singapore, online shopping. So yeah, so at that time you can still buy sealed shiny treasure at a very low price. This is MSRP basically, slightly below even. Paldean Fate ETB was selling at $31. This I believe is also Amazon, because in Singapore you will not find prices like this. So yeah, this was from Amazon. This of course is with those discounted price, heavily discounted. Crown Zenith Tin, I don't think this is right. I probably no, wait, I think this is right. This is again from Amazon. Yeah, you see, look at the dates. They're all from the same period. These are all from Amazon. Amazing deal at that time. This is 1 year ago. I think it's a smaller tin. I don't believe it's the big tin, but this is basically the 4-pack tin. And 151 booster box again from Shopee. At that time it was $64. Now it's probably triple. Yeah, and then I started thinking maybe I should, as a fan of Pokeos and his background always filled with ETBs, I also thought I should, try to get one ETB, because I know I have already missed the boat with all these sets like Fusion Strike, Lost Origin. At that time, they're already like $200 per booster box. Looking back, it is still cheap, but at that time, it sounds expensive to me as compared to buying the newer sets. So I didn't buy the booster boxes, but I also wanted to, just have something in my shelves. So I went with ETB. So these are actually also doing pretty well. And then that's when I started really, I think 2 months later, that I started, the more I read, the more I listen to those, bad influence. Okay, I'm sorry, not bad influence, but influencers, and especially with very, very strong opinion. But they're actually quite based as well, right? They have their reason, they have facts behind them, and also 30 years of track record, actually. And then I actually started to went a little bit heavier. I believe I bought, a 1 box at a time, 1 box from here, 1 box from there. And Twilight Masquerade, I have, I think it was 5 loose box and a case. So those 1 or 2 boxes I bought from different places. The price was alright, but then later on I found that I can actually buy a full case from one of the shop that unfortunately I no longer buy from him, because at the moment, because of the market, he's selling at a very high price, basically market price, sometimes even above market. And I can't find a reason to support him as much as I want to. Yeah, but back then he was actually selling, that shop was selling for a very, very good price. So that's where I started to get these booster boxes in case. So I got a case of Twilight Masquerade and a few cases of Temporal Forces. That's where I started buying all this, because these are the ones that are available. Temporal Forces, Paradox Reef was still available at a good price. Paldea Evolve is probably one of the last case he has. And then he have some loose boxes. I believe I even bought some from Australia. At that time, the price was alright. And Surging Spark ETB, this is where it really start to get more difficult. Surging Spark, I did not buy 4Ks at a go. But at that time, during release, it was still alright. And like I explained before, 2 weeks after release, they actually, have a second wave of restock, which was slightly more expensive, but still alright. So on average, I think this is the average price, but it's actually 2 separate price, right? And then I also started getting PCETB. This is when, so it was November last year. PCETB from Singapore, because we can quite easily just get them order from online. At that time, I think there was probably the start of the chattering about PCTB, how the promo are doing very well. But in Singapore, this is the only PCTB that's available. So I got 2. And then Pokemon, what is this? ETB? Oh, okay. I got 1. I should have gotten more. At that time, this price was, this is from Singapore. It's not too low, but not too high as well. So I only got 1. But because the other ETB, you can see actually some of them are quite a lot cheaper. 40, 42, 48 USD. So I was hoping I can get some, around that range. But of course, I think I was relatively new. I do not know. I do not foresee 151 to go so crazy. So I only have 1 of this. But moving on, I started to go, buy more PCTB. I even got 2 UPC from, again, this is from Pokemon Center, Singapore. Back then, they still send them sealed. So it was a good deal. And then when is this? These are from Japan. So it was unstringed. I went Japan last December, and I got some More booster boxes. Okay, so by the end of last year, about 6 months into the hobby, collecting, investing, I started having a stronger belief in the hobby, in the product, and I really went heavy into the booster boxes. Even PCTB, I bought 24 at a go. So yeah, I think it's a very, very good decision. Yeah, so in fact, this is one of the best performing product in my portfolio right now. Later, maybe I'll show you. Terrestrial Festival. This is interesting because at release at Japan, I tried to buy them in Pokemon Center, and as you know, the queue was long, and everybody can only, one person can only buy 2 packs at Pokemon Center. At that time, I don't even know that you could have, gotten them in convenience store or the other TCG stores. In my mind, I only visited the Pokemon Center because that's where the fans go, right? So and I went to buy plushies as well. So yeah, but after I came back to Singapore, I started also looking for places where I can buy Japanese boxes from, and I found some good vendor. I think again, shout out to Pokiani, Brian, for sharing his. He's actually quite a nice guy. I mean, he's very direct sometimes and way too frank. He don't go beat around the bushes, but he does share quite good information. And yeah, I managed to find one of the, I would probably say one of the more reasonable price vendor in Japan, reseller, and I have tried them a few times by now probably more than 10 times, and they are quite reliable. They send me invoice quickly, and then they ship out the product quickly, and they always pack the product very nicely. So at that time, when Terrestrial Festival just released in Japan, it was not too expensive. I mean, it was almost double MSRP actually, but still comparing to the price right now, it is still a good price. So yeah, I managed to buy quite a bit of it. And then yeah, Surging Spark has another restock later on, earlier this year, Powder Evolve. I do not know where this come from. Maybe another restock somewhere, or maybe I bought it from Shopee. Somebody is still selling them, so I just bought them before it went really, really crazy. This is almost close to MSRP at that time. But yeah, so here is something that is interesting. Temporal Forces at that time is still selling for a very, very affordable price. So actually, if you have gotten them, this is only 6 months ago, they're still selling at a very, very good price. So you have gotten them then, by now it's almost doubled in value. Yeah, and then I started also looking into the possibility of buying from UK or US, because especially from US, if you could get it work, PCTB from US is actually cheaper than buying from Singapore, including shipping. Back then I could get a case of Shrouded Fable just to try it out, and yeah, you look at the price, it's only $72 including shipping. If I buy it in Singapore, what was the price? $82. Yeah, so when I get this from US, it's actually even cheaper than buying from Singapore directly, and that is really, really interesting. Oh, it's actually 73. Okay, so I could get them at $73 back then with a cashback voucher, but right now they don't offer that anymore. And in Singapore, they removed the seal as well, so I don't think it's worth getting anymore. But if you can get them in US, I've said it in my video as well, it's actually really, really cheaper than getting them in Singapore. So that's an interesting fact for you. Prismatic Evolution came out. After that, I'm still buying bits of pieces of things, but you can see that actually in terms of the value, if we compare to in January or December last year, I really slowed down a lot, and I've wanted to talk about this. This is quite an interesting and very important thing to talk about, because as much as we want to keep buying things, it's very interesting, very fun to add things into our portfolio. But I really want to appeal to you to be extra careful, because if you are buying in at a very high price, your portfolio may take a very long time to appreciate. And if you are taking this as an investment, I don't think it will work very well. I mean, if you are just buying them to rip, or you are thinking about flipping them, like for example, I got the 6 boxes of Destiny Rival at a pretty good price, and I immediately sold 2 open up the case and sold to, because this is the kind of market where you can do things like this, right? Almost double immediately. And by doing that, I was able to bring my average cost of my remaining 4 boxes to $85. And this is the kind that I think in this market, if you could still get your hand on boxes at a reasonable price, I got it, below MSRP in Singapore. And you can, if I could immediately, just sell 1 or 2 of them and to recoup some of the costs at the cost, and to prepare for, because in the future restock, I believe they will come. I'm not sure how much we are going to get, but if they are, then even if I need to get them at slightly higher price, because at the moment my average cost is only $85 per box. It will average up slightly, but it will still be at a very reasonable cost. So I think this is something that if you can, it's probably a good idea to do that. But other than that, I really do not recommend spending too much. And as you can see, I really didn't spend on very big ticket items, small little things like bundles. I get some of them here and there, and most of my purchase are focusing on Prismatic Evolution and 151, especially 151. This is something I wanted to focus on, because these 2 sets are things that I believe will really do well in the future, especially looking at the long term. And especially 151 right now, they are quite similarly priced to Prismatic Evolution booster bundle. But Pokemon 151 is probably going to be out of print pretty soon, and so I think comparing these 2, I would recommend going with 151 because you may see your gain earlier than Prismatic Evolution. But 10 years later, who knows, right? By the moment, that's what I'm doing, going a little bit slower, looking for deals that I can. And sometimes I get good deals, sometimes, like the Blooming Water, Prismatic Evolution, sometimes I can get them at a pretty nice price. I think, whatever comes my way, I'll be happy to grab them. But I'm also selling some of the things that I have when, the right buyer come along, even though I'm not selling at a very high price. But ETB is something that I'm okay to let go, because they're taking up quite a bit of space. And if I'm taking profit, I think I won't complain about it. The other thing is, at this kind of market, if you're buying things, if you're spending, I think it will be really important to spend on things that is going to gain value in the future. For example, the UPC, Charizard UPC, I got it at 218 USD. Pretty good price. I just got it 2 weeks ago. At this price is crazy. Right now it's already selling at close to $300 in the open market. But also because I have relationship with my suppliers, and when they find old stocks, this is a surprise actually. The supplier actually just found it in a box that he forgotten, and he found a sealed case of it. So he just take it out and distribute. Oh, who wants it? To his regulars. And I managed to grab one, and I think it's interesting. I'll just keep it, even though I can't get it at $100 like years ago where we could have gotten them. But I think it's still better than nothing. I believe it will do well with all the Evolving Skies in it, and the 3 Charizard promo. Very nice. So that's my journey basically. But I also wanted to show you generally what are the things that, in terms of percentage, very interesting, because what are the things that are actually doing very, very well at the moment in terms of percentage gain are, interestingly, the ETBs, especially because I got them, I told you I got them from Amazon during the Amazon Day, which is coming up in a few days. So maybe, keep a lookout. But I doubt they will be, doing things like that anymore. I got them at $20 as I showed you. Right now is 61. And some of this, I think which one was it? I think that this one as well, the Paldean Fates ETB. I think I have 2. Why is this showing only 1? Okay, I should have 2. Anyway, and the Teen as well, they were selling very, very cheap in Amazon. So I just grabbed a few. I should have gotten more, but I didn't. Too bad. But other than that, these small little items. But the problem is this: if you want to keep a big amount in a high volume, it's going to take up a lot of space. So if you have a small budget, I think that's fine. But if you have a budget, you want to scale them up, I think the booster box is still the king, still the way to go. Yes, so that's what I wanted to share. So if you have any question about, how you can start, maybe start small, start with some of these items, especially if you can find a good deal. My budget will be different from yours. Everybody's living situation is a little bit different. And most importantly, this is not investment advice or financial advice at all. So please just take it as entertainment, look at my story and whether it reflects your experience. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So you can see that if you look at the chart, this is USD. Basically, it's from April onwards. I honestly haven't been spending too much until Destined Rival came about. Then I started buying some for Destined Rival and then some booster bundles for Prismatic and 151, and that's all I bought. But before that, the big jumps are all from the booster boxes where I went in quite heavy. Just look at this, from January to April, it jumped for almost $14,000, but for in the next 3 months, from April to almost July, it only went up 3,000. Yeah, so there's a very big difference in my mindset, because if there's not a very good deal, I'm not going to force myself to spend. And the fact is, I've spent most of my, the investment money I wanted to put into Pokemon, and I need to put a break on them. So I only started. At the moment, I'm only buying if I see there's a good deal. And the interesting thing is also, as I was saying, from April to July, even though I only put in almost $4,000, $3,000 to $4,000, but the value actually went up higher than that. The value since then it went up to close to about $7,000. So yeah, it really does work. Even though we do not want to preach to say that this is called investing. Some people don't like that, but the fact is that the value does go up. It goes up, it goes down, but in the long run, it really does go up. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to share. See you in the next one.